Can you build a pipe organ out of recorders? So we're doing this audio guy again. We've done one of his videos previously. I guess we can check this out. We'll check this one out, see how it goes.
Thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. I think we can all agree that the most majestic instrument of all time is the pipe organ.
Sure, yeah, okay.
It's a culmination of thousands of years of innovation in acoustics, pneumatics, and electronics, just to turn a series of tubes into a house-sized instrument that actually costs more than a house. And that's the problem.
Holy
As
shit.
somebody who will almost certainly never be able to own a house, am I also destined to never know the joys of owning a pipe organ? But while things look bleak, I have a plan. I've dabbled a bit in building music instruments, so what's stopping me from building my own pipe organ? And today, that's exactly what I plan to do. But first, let me tell you all about today's sponsor, War Thunder.
Yeah, War Thunder.
War Thunder is an insanely in-depth vehicle combat game, and is available for free on PC, consoles, and mobile. With over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships, ranging from armored cars and biplanes from the early 20th century to the most advanced vehicles of today, you're spoiled for choice. Not only that, but with a worldwide community of over 95 million players, you'll be able to dive into an endless amount of epic PvP battles, perfectly suited for fans of military history. And as somebody who spends most of their time investigating the insides of different electronics, I'm a huge fan of the X-ray view.
I've never played War Thunder.
War Thunder shows you exactly how and why, down to the individual components and combatants. And if you're worried about needing some sort of complicated controller to play, don't worry. All you need is a mouse and a keyboard, a controller, or just your touchscreen to play. Speaking
I
of
can't even
touchscreens,
imagine trying to play it on a fucking
War Thunder has an
touchscreen.
all-new mobile version available on iOS and Android, letting you take the Battlefield mobile. It features intuitive controls, impressive graphics as always, and the same.
Yeah, I
massive
can't even
multiplayer
imagine
warfare
how this game
experience.
plays on a
It's those sort of
fucking
things that let you
phone.
easily immerse yourself in the intense combat of War Thunder, with realistic graphics, authentic sound effects, and extremely detailed vehicles, which give you the experience of piloting some of the most powerful war machines of our
Play
time.
Ace Combat instead.
Play for free on plenty of different platforms, from Xbox to PlayStation, PC, or mobile. And if you're on console or a PC platform, and are a new player or haven't played...
I love that we are still talking about PS4. When did the PS5 come out? So, like, the launch was so fucked for that. Almost 6 years ago. What was the gap? Okay, PS4. When did the PS4 come out? Okay. When did the PS3 come out? PS3 is 2006. So the gap between the PS3 and PS4 is almost as long as the PS4 and PS5, and we are still talking about games on the PS4. Same with the Xbox as well. Like, I don't know what both Microsoft and Sony are gonna do when they want to do a next-gen console, because people are still not migrated over to the current gen.
In 6 months, you can use my link down below to get access to a massive bonus pack with premium vehicles and other perks. This bonus will only be around for a limited time, so make sure to check it out ASAP. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video.
What I think is very possible, this is not important to like the main thing, what I think is very possible for the next-gen consoles is I think there may be a cheap version, which is a streaming-only box. I think we might jump entirely past digital distribution all the way to this is like, let's say $300 cheaper, but you can only stream games. What lasts longer, PS2 or PS4? PS2. PS2. Not in the West, but I believe in like, didn't they release, wasn't like PES 2012 on the PS2? Last PS2 game. Last PS2 game. Yeah, PES 2014. This was 7 years into the PS3. This wasn't for people in the West. This was in countries like Brazil and places like that.
Now, we need 3 things. Pipes to create the actual notes, some sort of air supply, and a keyboard that can direct the air to the correct pipes. Let's start with the most essential piece, the pipes.
Steel beams. Oh,
24
recorders.
fucking recorders. Surely you will not regret 24 fucking recorders.
How much do you
No, I'm
spend
not
on
teaching middle school music
24
class.
recorders?
These are going to be our pipes.
Oh,
Not
great.
only because you can easily tune them with some tape, but also you can get 20 shit-tier recorders for less than the price of a tank of gas.
Okay.
these days. We can theoretically span a whole 28 notes with these recorders, although I'm not fully confident they'll be able to hit these higher notes, which can be challenging to hit even on a recorder that costs more than a few cents to make. But regardless, there's a more important problem. How are we going to control the flow of air to our pipes? Real organs use insane mechanical mechanisms or electropneumatics to do this, but my plan is to use these custom 3D printed recorder to NPT adapters, which will let us use standard off-the-shelf pneumatic solenoids to control the flow of air. These things are pretty pricey, so I really hope they work.
All right, so I don't know exactly where in the continuity this is all going to end up, but this has been pissing me off. I was just doing a quick check to make sure I kind of understood how these works, and my assumption was that you would put air into this guy here,
Right.
and then when you apply power to each of these solenoids, it'll let the air come through it.
Makes sense.
That is still technically correct, but it doesn't really work in the way I thought. I thought, regardless of whether or not you had air connected, that these would still open. I was testing with just my body, and what I was noticing is they wouldn't open. And it turns out that's because what I was expecting was direct acting solenoids, which just fully open when you apply electricity. These are pilot actuated, meaning it's actually using the incoming air pressure to open the valves, which I guess makes it more efficient. But that means I had to go walk all the way to my storage unit. I had to find my air compressor. I had to find all my tubing. I also had to find a particular fitting. Yeah, it's this guy here. Quick connect to female NPT. And that's because I need my air compressor to connect to plastic tubing. And so I've got my air compressor. So I'm gonna blow into this tube here and nothing. And when I apply voltage, you can see that it clicks on, but absolutely no air is coming out of that. Once I hook this up to my air compressor, that should open. Plug it into there.
Hopefully.
Oh, that's really not that loud at all. But I am gonna hold it so my roommate doesn't fucking kill me. We just need 21. Wow, that's really not that much at all. And now,
And it
what
blows
about
up.
if we try to trigger? Oh, that works. I am now going to trigger it electronically. Okay, that 100% works.
Okay.
Now let's hook
getting
it up
somewhere.
to a recorder. That is a noise, if I've ever heard one.
It's a noise. Not a good one. Granted, it is a recorder.
I need something to stop that initial sharp burst of pressure. But otherwise, that does seem to work.
But to actually control these solenoids, I'm thinking a standard MIDI piano should just work fine. But how exactly will the two communicate? This big boy is a 32-channel relay board, using RS-485 for control and has full DIN rail mounting capabilities. It's fucking sick. We can control it super easily with just a little bit of Python code over a 3-wire link. And the DIN rail mounting is important because I'm planning to assemble everything onto a frame made out of aluminum extrusions. But I'm pretty bad at improvising that kind of thing, so I did a few sketches of how I wanted everything assembled, and after a couple days of messing around, we have this.
All right.
Okay.
Finally, it is time
Okay.
to demo
Wait, this looks
the
functional.
recorder organ. It's, what time is it? It's 2:17, so I don't think my neighbors will be too mad if I test this out now.
270. Yeah, it's
Whoa,
the
it's
middle of
doing
the
some
day.
weird- I don't know if you saw it. It was doing some weird shit on the camera. Ooh, wobbling back and forth. All right, and then this is just gonna plug.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, I think I've got the pressure dialed in. Oh my gosh, no.
Now, besides the obvious problem of our pipes actually attempt
Why did you? Okay, that is a obvious design oversight right there. Just fucking tape them in.
Oh my gosh, no I don't.
Now, besides the obvious problem of our pipes actually attempting to leave the organ, there are a few other issues we need to address. For one, we're only using 12 of our 24 recorders. Don't worry, we'll fix that. But more pressing is that there's some weird shenanigans going on with, well, pressure. The individual notes sort of sound fine, I mean, besides that initial screech they do, but trying to play multiple notes at once results in only one note playing.
You know, let's get crazy.
Probably not.
Let's try a chord. All right.
Or
This
use
might just
glue.
immediately go. So I
Glue's
don't-
probably fine.
All right, so I think I fixed it. I had to add little flow restrictors for each individual note because the pressure actually needs to be high for the solenoids themselves to actuate, but I don't want the pressure high here.
Right.
So instead of having the flow restriction be on the input to the solenoids, it's just on each individual note. I think it's gonna work a lot better now.
Okay. Wait, that sounds... Could be worse.
But there's still one final problem to solve.
It worked.
The keyboard. Now, my idea is to use a standard MIDI keyboard, and I could just go grab one for my storage unit, but that would be cringe. Instead, let's use one of these shitty Dollar Tree toy pianos that I can't stop buying for some reason. There's really nothing special about them, other than whatever psycho designed them made sure that the keys are off pitch by exactly a tritone, possibly the second worst interval they could have chosen.
What?
But that's besides the point, because my plan for this guy is to turn it into the MIDI controller we need to
Okay.
complete the build. And to make things a little bit more interesting, I decided to risk public embarrassment and do this on a live stream.
Oh no.
Now, my computer did attempt to foil me
Oh,
by
it's
completely
Ubuntu.
self-destructing while I tried to set everything up, but I persevered through a complete system reinstall, and it was finally time to cap off this build. This is so weird. I'm so used to scripting my shit. But that's also why I got my stream juice. Okay. So, I recently got this, which can work as a native MIDI device. I've got a bag of I/O expanders because this does not have enough GPIOs to connect to all of these keys.
Well,
And
he uses
somewhere
Linux
here I have boost
because it
converters.
makes it easier.
Let's see.
You don't have to deal with
This
Windows
looks
then.
like DC to DC
Oh, so you're not-
converter. Yep, because we're gonna need to take
At the end of the day, you're dealing
voltage
with
from whatever batteries
these little
these
boards
are.
anyway.
and turn it into like 5 volts or 3.3 at least for these other components. Now, what I'm hoping to find inside this keyboard is something similar to the CNC, which I also recently modded. The CNC had a bunch of different membrane button pads, each of which with test pads I could easily wire up a microcontroller with. Now, in that case, I used it to play different sounds. But here we just want to convert the key presses into MIDI messages, and the microcontroller I selected can do exactly that.
Let me guess, it's designed by a psycho.
Okay, this looks like it's probably going to be easier than I thought. Switch on the front, turn it on and off, speaker of course. We've got this.
The bonk.
It looks like there's probably pads on here. Let me see if I can get this out. We can see what those look like, because if they're...
You know what, I will say, for some cheap bullshit, this is surprisingly sensible. There is so much, like, cheap garbage out there where you cannot get it apart no matter what you try to do.
simple enough. We might just be able to literally solder to it.
Assuming under this is not insane.
Will this come out? Yes. Ooh, just a bunch of little nubs with a, what is that IC? JFL 16-2. Let's see
Hey,
if I can look what
they didn't scratch it off. That's something. A lot of stuff does that.
this is.
Ha!
Okay, yeah, no, there's actually test points, it looks like. You can see little, like, round protrusions at the edge. I don't know if you can see that, but I should just be able to solder to that. So far, things were looking good. Next to each button is a small test point we should be able to solder to, but while probing around to try and find out, I realized something that was gonna become a problem.
Oh.
Okay, so that the top rail isn't actually shared between all the buttons. It looks like you've got these 5 right here are all using the same high. Then these ones are all using the same high, and then these ones are all using the same high, and these ones are all using the same high. This might be a little more involved than I expected. Basically, I had assumed each button was hooked up to the controller chip like this. So a single button per input pin.
That would make
which
sense.
was how the CNC was set up. However, it probably should have been obvious to me that this was stupid, because this chip has 16 pins, and the piano has 23 keys plus this extra button. So 24 buttons. And last I checked, 24 is greater than 16.
That's true.
This means the keyboard is almost certainly doing some sort of matrix multiplexing to read the keys, and this was going to make things a little more annoying than I had planned. For one, I'll need to probe all the buttons on the board to see how everything is organized, which sounds boring as fuck for one. But also, it makes my code more sensitive to timing issues, because I need to catch exactly when each segment is activated, and only then read the buttons. Depending on the setup, this could be happening every couple hundreds of times a second to hundreds of thousands of times. And I really don't know if the microcontroller I picked can handle that. I also had this weird personal goal to not only turn this kid's piano into a MIDI controller, but also turn it into a MIDI device, able to receive MIDI messages and play sounds. Why? Honestly, I just thought it'd be funny to make the piano play random MIDI files. But that also means I can't just remove the original chip and drive the keyboard matrix myself using some random Arduino library. So despite the fact that it was going to make my stream significantly longer, I got out my notepad and started mapping everything out. But since that's boring as shit to watch, let me tell you about something I thought was kind of interesting while I was staring at the PCB. Let's say you're routing traces on a PCB you've designed, and that due to the nature of, let's say, topology, one of your traces needs to jump over another to get to its destination. In a dual-layer PCB, you'd probably just use a via to punch through to the other side and make the jump that way.
Right.
But that costs money, and if you're pumping out hundreds of thousands of PCBs that'll make their way into marked up e-waste, every cent counts. So what the designers of this board did is use these carbon traces that sit on top of the solder mask, and use that to bridge different points. I'm familiar with this process being used for things like button pads or potentiometers, but I guess it's just cheaper than adding a whole other layer to the PCB. But anyways, after a couple hours deciphering the board, soldering, it was time to see if some basic code could read the key presses.
We should see just something.
That's a good...
If I press a button.
Hey! It's something.
It worked! Okay. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, it is, quote-unquote, working in the sense of it's detecting button presses, although some of the buttons I'm not totally sure about.
Finishing up the keyboard was fairly easy, except it wasn't, and I had to spend a few days troubleshooting weird errors where keys would register as pressed multiple times if you held the key down. Turns out it was because my code was dog shit, and after a complete rewrite where I switched from polling logic to interrupt driving logic to detect the key presses, everything was working.
Yeah, if you're polling... Yeah, was he forgetting to check if the key... Was he polling and then not checking the key state from the previous polling event? Or the previous polling cycle? No shit! It was going to duplicate
I'd
it.
managed to achieve both my goals. Not only does this toy act as a MIDI keyboard, sending messages when you press one of the keys, but it can also function as a MIDI device, taking MIDI messages and playing them. And with that functionality, I was able to immortalize the sounds of this toy keyboard in a sample pack.
Oh my god.
I won't say the process of creating it was very pretty, but if for some reason you need this sound to make your next big hit, it's there for you.
God.
And this is my room.
Wow.
What is that?
That's what I've been working on.
That looks like
Recorders.
recorders.
It's very out of tune. These recorders are like dollars. Why did it stop? Oh,
And it's already broken.
it's almost a major chord if you think about it.
That face.
Why does that one not work?
I'm not really hearing much of the scale.
Yeah, let's see. If you do this, it's kind of a major chord. Well, come on. You can kind of hear it in there.
Oh no.
I'm gonna be playing some MIDI files directly from my computer because I want to see what sounds will get out of this. And also, I'm just really bad at playing the piano.
It kind of sounds like... It kind of sounds like you'd use it as like a horror theme. There's something about it that's giving me horror vibes. It's Especially with the air compressor coming on in the background. This hurts. Can't get claimed like that.
Is it the best tuned pipe organ out there?
Surely not.
Not at all.
No.
But it's been sitting in the background of my videos for years, and I can finally put this project to rest. So, thanks for stopping by. And of course,
Years?
is it the best tuned pipe organ out there? Not at all. But it's been sitting in the background of my videos for years, and I can finally put this project to rest. So, thanks for stopping by. And of course, make sure to check out today's sponsor, War Thunder. Play for free on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, or mobile. And if you're a new or returning player who hasn't played in 6 months, you can receive a massive bonus pack if you use the links in my pinned comment down below. Only for a limited time on PC and console, so check it out quickly.
Okay. Right. That was a video. Should you do any of that? No.